Player interview number 2 of this fine offseason here on Locked On Pacers, as we're joined by Indiana Pacers / Mad Ants / all things Indiana wing, Kyle Mangas, talking high school, college, and pro basketball in the state, the Mad Ants culture, the Pacers in training camp, and much more on today's Locked On Pacers podcast.
You are Locked On Pacers, your daily Indiana Pacers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What up, y'all? Happy Wednesday, and welcome into another edition of the Locked On Pacers podcast, where we, of course, talk about the Indiana Pacers. As always, my name's Tony East. I cover the team for Forbes and SI, and today we're diving back in with another player interview, our second one here of the offseason on Locked On Pacers. Today, talking with a guy who's going to be back with the Pacers organization this year and was last year, and Kyle Mangas, who spent a ton of time with the Mad Ants last season. And many of you who follow basketball in this state know Kyle and what he's done from Warsaw to Indiana Wesleyan, now in the Pacers organization. We cover all that journey, the state, the path, what it meant to be back in that organization after a few years overseas. And of course, we talk some Jarace Walker, some training camp for the Pacers, some Quentin Jackson, and a ton more on this show. Hope you guys enjoyed this interview. Kyle was awesome and very gracious with his time. Let's just hop right in. If you follow Indiana basketball at all at any level, you know who this person is. It's Kyle Mangas, high school, college, and then after a little bit of a departure for 2 years out of Indiana, Kyle, I can't believe it, back with the Mad Ants and the Pacers for a spit last season. Kyle Mangas, how you doing? I believe you're married now. How is the offseason treating you for the first time in a bit here?
Yeah. Hey, Tony, thanks for having me on today to talk some hoops and talk about the summer. Yeah, things are going well. Got married to my wife, Karen, about 3 weeks ago. So enjoying the married life, living in Carmel, Indiana, just on the north side of Indy right now. Rehabbing an ankle and just getting back to workouts and that type of thing, gearing up for the season, a couple months away from training camp. So it's coming up soon.
Carmel, Obi Toppin's favorite place, as he likes to say when he's joking around. For those who aren't aware...
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yes, Obi Toppin, big Carmel fan. For those who aren't aware, you probably have more ties to this state than maybe anyone alive, from even your family, your high school days, and your college days. So kind of jumping around career-wise for you a little bit, but coming back last year to the Pacers organization, what did that all mean to you in the scope of your basketball career?
Yeah, it was, it meant everything, like you said. In the state, I've been fortunate enough to play, basketball from when I was a kid to now professional. So, every level, high school, collegiate, now professionally, to play basketball in Indiana. That's a dream come true in itself. And just the people in the state love basketball, are so passionate about it. So it's awesome. And to be able to come back, play for Pacers organization is really cool. I got to play in front of a lot of family, friends, and just familiar faces. So that was probably the best part of all of it. But there were so many things. I just enjoyed every aspect of my experience last year, just from the players on our team, just the relationships I built with them, to the coaches. Can't say enough about everyone. It was a 10 out of 10 experience for me last year.
I often joked with people that some of the crowds at Mad Ants games were the Kyle Mangas fan club because of how many people came out to see you. Do you think you would have done, I never really asked you this during the season, would you have come to do the G League if it wasn't in Indiana last year? Was it specifically the Mad Ants path that was appealing to you at that point in your career?
That's a good question. I was looking at the G League, and there were a couple teams that, not the Pacers, that had reached out to me and I was talking to, but then Indiana reached out and did a workout with them, and it was kind of like a no-brainer for me. So I probably still would have done it, I think, last year, but it was a very easy choice for me to go with the Pacers and the Mad Ants.
What was that workout like, knowing that opportunity could be in front of you? I would assume that was probably about this time last year. And how did you keep the pressure off yourself, knowing that could be possible?
Yeah, it was with Tom Hankins, so the Mad Ants G League head coach, and then a couple of player development guys like Joe Okafor, which is pretty cool for me, actually, because we played together at Indiana Wesleyan for 2 years, and now he's the assistant video coordinator for the Pacers. So it was kind of cool to have him in there taking me through the workout and stuff. Just some familiarity there. But I mean, there's always going to be pressure involved with different workouts and things like that. But I think just through all the different levels I played at, it's kind of helped prepare me for just being ready for opportunities like that.
Going backwards now for just a sec. For those who don't know, Kyle played at Warsaw Community High School in Warsaw, Indiana, before going to Indiana Wesleyan. And I believe I've heard this, but I want you to expand on this a little more. You had, despite several scoring records in the high school level in the state, you did not have a D1 offer, correct, coming out of high school?
Yeah, that's correct.
Why do you feel like that was the case?
Yeah. A few different reasons. I feel like I was under recruited, but at the same time too, I committed early, even before my senior year began. And, I don't know. I mean, I think it gave me a chip on my shoulder, but at the same time too, I wasn't mad about it because I had been in touch with IWU and had built a relationship with Indiana Wesleyan since I was a freshman. So I was pretty set on going there. It had everything that I was looking for in college on and off the court. And, I think it gave me a little bit of juice going into college. Like a lot of schools did pass up on me, but at the same time too, like this is the place where I want to be. It was just a great fit. So I think just the mix, I was really skinny high school kid, just not super athletic, like didn't pass the eye test, things like that. Not what you would really imagine when you look at a D1 basketball player. So all of those things probably played into it as well.
I heard a recent interview where you were talking about having to prove yourself at every level, and that, of course, was part of the reality at Wesleyan as well. And what did you like about the NAIA life? And did you ever have an opportunity to transfer out, or did you just want to stay there the whole time?
Yeah, I loved playing in the NAIA, specifically the Crossroads League. For those that don't know, the Crossroads League is super cool because it's pretty much all schools in northern Indiana, with a few being just outside, one in Michigan and one in Ohio, and then one in Indy Marion University, and then the rest are northern Indiana. So it's super cool. All the colleges are very close together. It makes it really competitive. There's a lot of rivalries. It's a really skilled league, I would say. Like, you'll find so many skilled players that can shoot, score. Definitely not. The athleticism and physicality isn't what you'd find at a Division I level, but those are the things I really enjoyed about it. And then, just going to a school where, faith-based is important to me. So that was another reason I enjoyed Indiana Wesleyan, was able to grow in that part. I never looked at transferring, really. Only after my fourth year, which we had the COVID year, I looked at it a little bit, but decided I wanted to go pro. So loved the school and never really thought about going anywhere else.
Would the transfer rules for NCAA have applied to you, or would it have been different just because of the level you were at? Do you even know that?
Yeah, I'm not totally sure. I knew I had a fifth year if I wanted to use it. But that would have been it.
So coming from your background, were you a Pacers fan as a kid? And if so, how did that impact the experience you just had being in that organization?
Yeah, I was a Pacers fan for sure. Growing up, I was a huge IU fan. I was a Pacers fan. I was also a Spurs fan, which is kind of funny because I loved watching like Manu Ginobili and Tony Parker, Tim Duncan, like those. I loved watching them. But yeah, always rooted for the Pacers, of course. Went to games, all those sorts of things. So like when you get to go play on Gamebridge Fieldhouse in professional games now today, it's pretty cool to put all that into perspective, I would say. Yeah, it's neat to look back on that. There's some pictures of me when I was like 4 years old wearing like a Pacers tank out in the driveway. Maybe even with like a basketball in my hand. So it's pretty cool.
Warsaw and not Notre Dame, not Purdue. How did you become an IU fan? Which is, of course, I am very happy to hear that.
Yeah. That's a good question. Yeah, there's a lot of Notre Dame. There's everything up where I'm from, but just family ties going to IU. My brother went there. A lot of family members, uncle. I just grew up watching them going to games down there. Like Yogi Ferrell is like my favorite IU player. Jordan Holes, of course, Oladipo. Guys like that. Just something about that place. Assembly Hall is just really cool to me.
I went to Des Moines the year that IU beat Kentucky in the round of 32, and I sat next to Yogi's dad for the whole game. Oh,
okay.
That was one of my favorite sporting events I've ever attended in my life. I think it was awesome, and I was convinced Tyler Ulis was going to be like the best player ever watching that game. It's a shame his career did not pan out.
He was a stud.
He had 30 points in that game. It was unbelievable. Hey guys, we have to very quickly talk about eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered with over 122 million parts. For your number one ride or die, you will always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay's Guaranteed Fit, you're guaranteed to have the part fit your ride every time, or you're going to get your money back, because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. So keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay's Guaranteed Fit is only available to U.S. customers. Having that background in fandom experience, and this is you kind of just touched on this, but I'm curious because you've never had another G League team to compare it to, but in my head, it has to be a really big advantage that you guys use the Pacers facilities for everything last year, right? Practice, even treatment. It's right across the street for the gym. Like, what did that add to it, especially for you personally, because of your Pacers fandom as a kid?
Yeah, it adds a ton to it. That's just another appealing thing about going to the G League and going to the Pacers organization, because you're right, not every G League, I've talked to other guys, not every G League team gets the opportunity to do that, and to have us live 30 seconds away and be able to walk to practice and walk to our games and just have access to all the things pretty much the Pacers do is incredible. I think it's a testament to the Pacers front office, because they've even said, they voiced to us, we don't want it to feel like a division where it's, the Pacers on one side, the Mad Ants, like we want to, integrate together. And I think that's really cool. And it shows what they think of the G League. It's a key for developing players. It's a great tool. There's so many good players coming out of the G League today. Like half of the NBA almost, I think, maybe has played in the G League or something crazy like that. So I think it's definitely getting more traction. And it's awesome to be able to use the facilities because they're top notch.
Yeah, I think the league tweeted that during the finals, like half the players on the Celtics and Mavs had G League experience before, or something. I had come from that route before. Right? Like, it's clearly becoming that sort of thing, and I think that's why you see teams doing what the Pacers do, where they want, that's why Noblesville's becoming a thing, because they want it to be so close and be such an easy, symbiotic thing. And especially for these 2 years while it's under construction, it's exactly the same facilities and everything. I'm sure you had a lot of teammates who had to make the 2.5 hour drive up to Allen County in last year. So I'm sure I told you how great it was to avoid that. Although for you, it would have been kind of nice, right by Warsaw, a little bit closer at least.
I know. Yeah. 40 minutes away. It would have been great. But yeah, they've talked about those drives and that type of thing, and they enjoyed not having to do that anymore.
So I want to ask about another G League thing you did last year, the Next Up game, which I just call the All-Star game because that's what it was. How did that come to be for you? What was it like to even be invited to do that? And I believe from talking to Isaiah Wong that participating in that meant you got to go to the rest of the All-Star weekend stuff in Cambridge and Lucas Oil. Is that all accurate?
Yes, that is accurate. It was really cool. We were out in Las Vegas playing the G League Ignite, and I hadn't had any. I think the All-Star game was in like 10 days or so. The G League All-Star game and the All-Star weekend was in about 10 days, and I wasn't planning on being in it or anything. And then I got a call out of the blue from my agent, and said they wanted me to join, and they invited me, and I was like, yes, like I'm in. So I don't know. It might have been a fill-in spot. It might have been something. Who knows? But all I know is I said yes, of course. Like I'll do it. To play in an All-Star game for the G League in Indy I was like, yes, I'm in. So that was a great experience. Just so many good players from around the G League all in one spot playing, in a game. Of course, it's not really I mean, it's not like the NBA All-Star Game. The stakes are a little different and the setup is a little different, but it was really cool in itself to be there for that. And went to every other event, I think, dunk contest, 3-point contest, went to the All-Star Game, which was so cool.
It was awesome. Yeah.
Had never been to any of those events before. So did all of it.
I wasn't sure if I'd ever be able to go again. I was like, okay, I have to go to everything, while it's right here.
Sure. Yeah.
And I will give you guys credit because I was one of the few people who went to the G League All-Star Game and the real All-Star Game, and you guys tried way harder than the NBA players did. So pat yourselves on the back. Guys were going all out. Guys it was.
Our team lost the first game. So I think we got to play for a total like 10, 15 minutes and it was over. But if your team won, you got to keep playing, which was a good incentive. A lot of guys went at it hard.
And Oscar got to keep playing, and man, Oscar Sheway, that was the Oscar Sheway showcase that day.
Yeah.
So I've always wondered this, and I don't know exactly how the experience worked for you, but you and a couple other guys got signed the same day with the Exhibit 10 kind of deal where the waiver comes the next day. What's that one day even like where you're in the facility and you kind of know what's going to happen anyway?
Yeah, that's a great question. I always tell people about that because a lot of people have questions about the E10 contract, and I'm still learning about it myself. But for that day, we signed, and then we were present in the Pacers training camp and practice. We didn't do anything, but we were present. We helped a little bit on like drills and things like that, but just to be up close, that was my first time, of course, seeing an NBA practice and a training camp especially. And I was blown away. I mean, first of all the guys were really cool. Pacers guys, come up, introduce themselves, like welcome, that type of thing. I think that shows a lot about the organization. And then number two, just how competitive they were. Like, I think there's some narratives that like NBA guys don't practice hard a lot, don't take things seriously, but like these guys wanted to win. Like I remember especially like Tyrese and Buddy were so competitive with each other, and it was awesome to see. Like, and that shows you why these guys are so competitive. That's why they're in these positions. They want to win so badly and do whatever it takes for their team to get those wins. So those two things kind of blew me away a little bit. It was only for one day. I mean, got to meet everyone, the coaches, and just be around for it, see what it looks like. It was awesome.
Do you, Darius, and Reed become like a little clique of buddies from that one day all together or anything?
Yeah, we did. I mean, we were all in the same spot together, so we definitely did. Yeah.
One more break here, guys. Let's quickly talk about the lovely folks over at FanDuel. You've heard us talk about them a ton here because they're America's #1 sportsbook, and we're going to keep talking about them all the time. And today we have a little something different for you because right now through September 22nd, summer, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket. How about that? From YouTube and YouTube TV. Again, $5 bet, 3 weeks of NFL Sunday Ticket. Colts have some preseason, then they're getting rolling. A lot of excitement about Anthony Richardson. This is a great way to watch him. Then with YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to keep watching every regular season Sunday afternoon out of market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment. You can cancel anytime, and FanDuel can help you get it all started with 3 weeks of NFL Sunday Ticket with a $5 FanDuel bet. Just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started there and download America's #1 sportsbook, FanDuel.com/lockedon. Check it out today. I'm curious about your summer league experience. One, because you went and played for the Lakers, and I want to know what went into that. And two, you played with Bronny, and I don't want you to talk about what you think of his abilities, but I'm more curious what you thought of the fanfare around the team you were on in summer league.
Yeah. I did do something different this summer. Went to play with the Lakers. It's no like ill will with the Pacers or anything like that. Our relationship is still strong, of course, especially I'm coming back. Just was going to do something different for the summer, and the Lakers had a lot of interest in me, and I was like, let's go try this out. So that was kind of the thought process behind that. So went out there for training camp and everything, and was going well, and then got hurt the first game of the summer league of the California Classic Summer League, so couldn't play for the rest of summer league. But was still a super neat experience, practicing in front of LeBron and just things like that. Meeting JJ Redick, Rob Pelinka, all those guys was super cool. Bronny, I mean, I have great things to say about him. He's a super nice guy. He's quiet. He's pretty laid back. He's a hard worker, but there is so much media surrounding him. Like, we would get off the bus at our hotel, and there'd be 250 people waiting for him to get off just to film him walk into the hotel. And I mean, you gotta feel for a kid like that. There's just a lot of pressure and publicity, and that's hard to get away from sometimes. So I think he handled it pretty well from what I saw.
I've been in the last 2 Vegas Summer Leagues, and it was remarkable to compare how like the seating and media worked for people trying to come see Victor last year and then Bronny this year. Like, it was actually pretty similar. It was pretty remarkable.
Yeah, there is a huge following. I mean, our first game was versus the Rockets, and I walked in that gym, and I was like, wow. I mean, it was electric. It was electric in there. Everyone wanted to see that game. Of course, the Rockets have some guys too, but yeah, it was. I mean, for a summer league game, it was on fire.
It was full. The arena was full.
Yeah, it was full. Yeah.
You kind of hinted at it here with your relationship with the Pacers, but what is your future? Do you know where you're playing next year yet? If it's going to be back here?
Yeah, I'll be back with the Pacers on an Exhibit 10. I'm going to be signing that here soon, and really looking forward to coming back. And seems like we'll have a pretty new team in the G League.
Yeah.
So just looking forward to kind of hitting the ground running from where I was last year, and trying to have another successful season. It was, I mean, it was my most enjoyable season last year as a pro. I know it was for so many of the other guys on the team. So it's always a challenge when you have new guys come in, just building that chemistry. And I think most of the coaching staff's returning, so that'll be helpful. But yeah, I'll be coming back with on an Exhibit 10, and just looking forward to that.
Awesome. Yeah. Congrats on that. A couple of Pacers guys you played with I want to ask about. And one that fans are very curious about is Jarace Walker. And you got a ton of court time with him with the Mad Ants last year. What'd you think of what he did? Because it's kind of interesting because he played point guard in high school, but he has clearly a forward skill set, but he does center stuff. It's like he's like all of this stuff in one. It was very interesting to watch him. What did you think playing with him of what he can do?
Yeah, that's true. He can do so many things on the court. I think he showcased that in the G League. Of course, he has such a great size and athleticism, but he showed that he can handle the ball a lot, make decisions. I think one thing about him, I think he's an underrated passer. Like, I think some of that will start to come out more, and I think he does have a natural feel of passing and getting other teammates involved. And I think with his size, that could be a really useful trait. But enjoy being around him. I mean, the G League's so unique because you don't practice with guys like that, with Jarace or Ben Shepherd, and they just come down for games, and you're just kind of thrown into the mix altogether. So that's what's so unique. Like the G League, your roster looks different night to night, but I think everyone adapted well. Like he came in with a great attitude. I don't know what it's like coming down from the Pacers to the Mad Ants, but he comes in with a good attitude every time. Plays the right way, plays team ball. So enjoy playing with Jarace. Yeah, and two, you got to think like he's so young still. I don't know, he was 19 or 20, so that makes me feel old as a 25-year-old. Like, this guy's out here doing this as a 19, 20-year-old rookie, whatever. It's pretty impressive.
My last Mad Ants question is something that I know CT had to be beaming about, but you guys played the Windy City Bulls in either February or March. Yeah. And I only remember that because Terry Taylor was on the Chicago Bulls, and they were also in town. And he went to the game. He wasn't playing for Windy City. He just went.
Yeah, I remember that.
And he played for the Mad Ants the year before, and he just loved the program and the culture that was built there. And again, I know you haven't played for another team, but I'm curious why you think, especially if you've heard from other guys, compared to other G League programs, the Mad Ants are able to have that kind of camaraderie, which is unusual in a league where players are moving around so much.
Yeah, that's true. That tells you a lot about the Mad Ants organization. And I had my pre-draft Pacers workout out of college was with Terry Taylor, and I remember he killed the workout and just destroyed it. So, I mean, it was cool to see him then join the Pacers for a few years. But yeah, just talking to other guys around the league who have played, or around the G League who have played for different teams and different organizations, all of them don't have any, they all say this is the best organization that I've played for, and just the way that they treat you and coaches communicate with you, and just they're in the gym every day with you working out. Just easy to talk to, and again, the resources like we talked about, the tools to have the Pacers facilities right there next to you. There's only probably a handful of teams that get to do that in the G League. So all those things are a plus, and I think they do things the right way. Because of course there are narratives too with the G League, just how different the style can be sometimes. There's some selfishness, of course, and just sloppy play, but I think the way that our coaches approach and coach and that type of thing, you don't really see that a whole lot with our organization.
Last one for me, Kyle, since you said you are going to be returning. This is your first time playing in the same place 2 years in a row since college. So How do you think that will help you, and what do you hope to accomplish this season?
Yeah, that's true. I'm excited about that. Feel like I just know what'll be going on this year, and can kind of just hit the ground running. Already built relationships with all the coaches, and I'm already able to go into the Pacers facility and do some rehab and workouts and that type of thing. So just seeing people's faces and talking to them, that's a huge bonus already. Didn't get to do that last year, and just again to be able to play in front of family and friends, I feel like that gives me a little extra boost when I'm on the court. To look up there and see your parents or your wife or friends, whoever it might be, that does give me a boost, because whether I've been in Europe and you don't know anyone in the crowd, it can be a little difficult at times. So all those things just are advantages and the things I'm most excited about. And I hope we have a really good year again and try to make a run at it, and win a G League championship would be pretty cool.
Playoff bound last year, but ran into the hottest shooting Delaware team I've ever seen in the first. They could not miss. That was a crazy game. Kyle, thank you very much for the time. Good luck this season, and take care. Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me on, Tony. Looking forward to seeing you around Gamebridge.